Hello and welcome to today's program. I am Ogechukwu Ukekwe. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control (NAFDAC) has introduced an innovative program, Catch Them Young, to tackle the growing issue of drug abuse among Nigerian youth, particularly in secondary schools. This initiative aims to educate students about the dangers of both legal and illegal drugs, emphasizing prevention and awareness. The unveiling ceremony took place at Government Secondary School, Tundiwada, Wuse Zone 4, Abuja, with NAFDAC Director General Mojisola Adeyeye, emphasizing the importance of the initiative. Adeyeye said the NAFDAC Catch Them Young program focuses on drug abuse, education and awareness, especially targeting the youth who are the most affected by this crisis. She highlighted alarming statistics, noting that 14.4% of 14.3 million Nigerians are victims of drug abuse, stressing the urgency of the program. We'll go on a short break and the program will return shortly. Welcome back. The Lagos State Ministry, through the Lagos State Primary Health Care Board, in collaboration with the National Primary Health Care Development Agency, World Health Organization, and other key stakeholders, is launching a mass integrated vaccination campaign for yellow fever, measles, and human papillomavirus aimed at preventing outbreaks and protecting citizens. Yellow fever is a serious viral disease transmitted by infected mosquitoes, posing a significant public health threat in Nigeria. Nigeria has been experiencing outbreaks since 2017. While measles is a vaccine-preventable childhood killer disease, children who are not vaccinated against measles through routine immunization at 9 months are vulnerable to measles. Also, cervical cancer is the second leading cause of death among women. Most cervical cancers are caused by human papillomavirus HPV, usually transmitted through sexual intercourse. Despite the availability of vaccines, low levels of public awareness and misinformation can hinder the success of such campaigns. Strategic engagement is crucial to ensure the wide circulation of accurate information, address vaccine hesitance, and promote the benefits of vaccination. While joining me on the program to discuss more is the public health physician who is also the Assistant Director of Lagos State Primary Health Care Board, Dr. Mariam Oshodi. Thank you for joining us on the program. So what would you say is the essential significance of immunization?
Okay, so immunization, the significance of immunization is to prevent vaccine-preventable diseases. Now, vaccine-preventable disease, just the way the name goes, vaccine-preventable disease. These are diseases that can be prevented by administration of vaccines. And what are vaccines? Vaccines are basically substances that stimulate the immune system to create antibodies in preparedness to fight infections when someone gets infected with those diseases. Now, vaccine-preventable diseases are numerous. And one of the ways to prevent vaccine-preventable disease is through immunization, through routine immunization. Routine immunization is a schedule of immunization that has been laid down by the country, the NPHCDA, which children and young children are supposed to get. So they're supposed to get these vaccines from the age of 0 at birth to 9 months to 15 months. And newly added is the HPV vaccine. So these vaccines are aimed to ensure that the body is already sensitized, so that when they come down with these diseases, they are able to fight those infections and it will prevent death in the long run.
So what would you say is the purpose of this mass integrated vaccination campaign being launched in the Lagos states?
Okay, so the mass integrated campaign is integrated because it's not just one vaccine entity. It includes measles, like you rightly said, measles, yellow fever, HPV, oral polio vaccine. So there are several vaccines that are being administered to children. And the essence of it is to ensure that we have as much people get vaccinated. And when we have a large number of people vaccinated against these infections, there's something called the herd immunity. So we have a large number of people that are vaccinated against these infections. It also serves to protect other people that perhaps perchance do not get vaccinated. So the essence of this integrated mass campaign is to ensure that we are ensuring that children get this vaccine. Some children might have missed their routine immunizations, the ones that they will have gotten at the age at birth, 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 14 weeks, and 6 months, 9 months, and then 15 months as the schedule permits, so that at this time when we're having this campaign, they will also be able to get these vaccines. Also, the vaccine is not just for children. Like I said, it's for the measles, it covers the age of 9 months to 59 months. That's for measles. Now for yellow fever also includes adults. So for people 9 months to the age of 44 years are eligible to have the yellow fever vaccine administered. And for oral polio is for people from birth, that's 0 months to 59 months. And then the HPV is for school, young girls, 9 years to 14 years. So it's integrated because it has all several vaccine entities that have been brought together to ensure that we have a campaign that is full-blown and also to protect the community at large.
So what can you explain what vaccines are? Then so why is it important to vaccinate people against this disease? That's the yellow fever, measles, and HPV.
Okay, so like I said, vaccines are substances that they are not they're not the disease entity, the virus themselves. They are dead viruses, which when introduced to the human body, it stimulates the human body to produce antibodies. So when the individual that has had this vaccine administered comes down with this disease entity, that individual is able to stimulate a response by which do not come down with that disease entity. So their body is able to fight against that disease entity because they are already sensitized and they are able to protect the body against the disease entity. So for as much as possible number of diseases that we have that are vaccine preventable, it's important that once vaccines are available, they're administered to help reduce the number of people that come down with this disease. Vaccine preventable diseases that have been estimated to cause about 45% of death in children under the age of 2 years. So you can imagine the number of death that this will really prevent in the long run.
So what age groups are prioritized for each vaccine and why?
Okay, so for the age groups that are prioritized, first of all, the age group, let's look at the routine immunization schedule. So the part of the vaccine that covers the age of routine immunization schedule would cover for children less than 5 years. The first one be oral polio vaccine. So the oral polio vaccine covers from birth till 59 months. That's less than 5 years. Now, the oral polio schedule is usually given at birth, 6 weeks, 10 weeks, and 14 weeks of after birth. And then for the measles are given at the routine immunization schedule from the age, it's given at 9 months and 15 months. You have measles 1 vaccine and measles 2 vaccine given at 15 months. However, for this campaign, measles 2 vaccine is from 9 months to 59 months. So covers for children that might have missed their immunization of the past and also to be able to help them prevent this disease entities. Now for yellow fever covers 9 months. For routine immunization, children are administered yellow fever at 9 months. And so for this campaign, it covers 9 months to 44 years of age. So adults are also included in this administration. And then the human papillomavirus for young girls that has been newly introduced into the country's immunization schedule covers for young girls 9 years to 14 years of age. And this has been on, and then that's why it's also integrated into the upcoming campaign.
What are the benefits of receiving the HPV vaccines, especially for young girls?
Yeah, so benefits of receiving HPV vaccine, it's so HPV as named because it's human papillomavirus vaccine. And the human papillomavirus is been found to be one of the leading cause of death, cervical cancer. Cervical cancer is one of the leading cause of death among women of childbearing group. And studies have shown that for women, young girls that are yet to be sexually exposed between the age of 9 to 14, after they have been administered the HPV vaccine, it serves to protect them against cervical cancer in the future. And so that's why the target is to get as young girls between the age of 9 to 14 years, school age girls between the age of 9 to 14 years, to ensure that they have this vaccine administered to protect them in the future.
So how do vaccination contribute to community immunity and overall public health?
Okay. So community immunity, that's also called herd immunity. Now, herd immunity is when you have, for instance, let me take measles as a disease entity. The herd immunity for measles is about 95% after the second dose of measles. For anyone that's had a first dose of measles, you're covered about 75% coverage. And then for second dose, it's about 95%. So what community immunity basically tells us is that if we have in a community, let's say 100 children, and you have 95 of these children that have been administered, that have had measles vaccine administered to them, it protects the five children that have not had the vaccine administered. So herd immunity and community immunity is key because it serves to protect people that have not even been vaccinated. Perhaps they've not been around, or perhaps they have weak immune system, as the case may be. So it's very important that we have campaigns like that, because campaigns like this also help us to boost our herd immunity. It also helps to boost the community defense against infections. And then for public health at large, there's no use of having children die from preventable diseases. Vaccine preventable is one of the major causes of under-5 mortality. And so it's important that when these vaccine preventable vaccines are available, they are administered as it's when due, and also campaigns are put in place to ensure that children that might have missed their immunization at one point or the other are able to benefit from these vaccines. And in the long run, community is going to be protected, and we have a safer world at the long run.
So there are some misconceptions about these vaccines. How can they be addressed?
Okay, so there are lots of misconceptions about vaccines, several of them. First of all, before we even address that, we have to look at what our own society. We're a cultural society where people have lots of myths and beliefs. Part of I give an instance, cervical cancer, where people come up and say, no, you should not give your children cervical cancer, the HPV vaccine, because it will make them infertile. Several misconceptions have also been attributed to the routine immunization. Now, it's important for us that the first thing to prevent misconception like this is through public enlightenment, which is one of the means which we're addressing right now. We need to let people know the real beliefs and myths and truths behind immunization. We need to let them see that it's important that we get children vaccinated. And also, that's why at most of our campaigns, we always ensure that we have prominent people, celebrities, people that the people look up to, that they join us at our campaign, so that they can say, oh, if this person gets this vaccine, they'll believe, oh, it's safe for us. So it's important that we know that vaccines are safe. They are very safe, and they are for our own benefits. Also, it's important that there is a strong stakeholders engagement, which the Lagos State Primary Healthcare Board as well as the NPHCDA have been working hand in hand together to ensure that this is put in place. So several traditional rulers, religious leaders, several key stakeholders persons have been engaged to ensure that they are able to talk to their congregation and enlighten them about immunization, about vaccination, so that we'll have increased acceptance for this vaccination, and also to enable us to have a successful campaign. Also, it's also important that also the caregivers, the parents, the mothers, and even the schools, they're all engaged. So all these engagements are currently ongoing. And then also radio engagement, television engagement, social media engagement. All these need to be put in place, so that people that are the recipients of these vaccines will know that, yes, it's safe, and they'll be more than willing to enable their children take up these vaccines.
How does the campaign plan to address vaccine hesitance among different populations?
Okay, so for every campaign, of course, there is the planning, and also there is the advocacy, community, social mobilization aspects of any campaign. So this has been put in place. And so first of all, for the campaign, key stakeholders have been engaged. And so there have been communications with key stakeholders, also media engagement. So we have a line list of activities to talk to people via the media, whether in different languages, Yoruba, English, Igbo, Hausa, as the case may be, to encourage people and pass the message even to the grassroots, to ensure that everyone is aware of this campaign coming up, and it's not as if you're just having a campaign and just coming to knock on people's doors and telling them that you want them to bring out their children for immunization or to get vaccinated. So these key stakeholders have been engaged, and it's also a continuous process. Also, several video clips, audio clips are being shared on social media to enlighten people and address them as well. Also, posters have been shared. There are different captions, posters with key messages, not messages that will be hard for them to understand. Key messages for them to understand the fact that, yes, the campaign is coming up on the 19th of October and it will span till 2nd of November. And also for the respective age groups that it will cover for, and the things that they get to benefit from having their children vaccinated. So all these activities are currently being put in place. And also, very importantly, is the fact that, of course, there are already rumors coming up about this campaign. So there are also measures already put in place to address all these rumors. Having going to marketplaces, market rallies, talking to the market women, having engaging sessions to make people more enlightened about the campaign that is coming up. So those are some of the things that have also been put in place to ensure that the vaccine hesitancy that we might experience at the upcoming campaign is reduced to the barest minimum.
So what safety measures are put in place to ensure these vaccines are administered safely to individuals?
Okay, so safety measures that have been put in place, first of all, the vaccine, we ensure that the vaccines are kept in their appropriate temperature. There's a cold chain system that has been put in place that all vaccines that are administered are supposed to be at +2 to 8 degrees Celsius with the appropriate cold chain materials, and all these are currently being put in place. Secondly, very importantly, is healthcare workers. So we're ensuring that healthcare workers, certified healthcare workers, not just healthcare workers, certified healthcare workers that we know that have been licensed are the ones going to administer these vaccines, because vaccines are administered in different routes. Like the oral polio is administered orally, administering into the mouth, while the others are injectable. Measles, yellow fever, human papillomavirus, and other routine immunization vaccines are all injectables with different modes and routes of administration. So it's important that licensed healthcare workers are the ones that are going to be to administer these injections, as the case may be. And so these healthcare workers are not just people that are going to pick and say, oh, they have been administering injections. No, we're going to train them. They're going to be trained on the appropriate quantity, size, and then dosage for the vaccine that is going to be administered to each child, so that we ensure that the vaccines get from the manufacturer to the recipient in the appropriate temperature, giving appropriate dose, ensuring the appropriate route of administration, and very importantly, safe for the child and as well the healthcare worker that is administering. Also, very importantly, measures are also put in place for waste management, because you can imagine a campaign that is going to cover almost all the age groups from birth till 44 years of age. It almost spans through a very large age group. And so we're also putting in place waste management measures to ensure that, oh, we don't have syringes flying about everywhere because we're having a campaign. So all these are already being put in place. The proper waste disposal for all these vaccines are all put in place. So, and all the healthcare workers that will be administering them are also being trained to ensure that they use these vaccines, they administer the vaccines very safe, and then dispose as appropriate.
So what plans for follow-up vaccination or booster shots after this campaign?
Okay, so after the campaign, as the campaign is ongoing, for everyone that has been administered, we would have they will have cards, nutrition cards I'll be giving to them, cards to identify that, oh yes, I've received my vaccine, and then also they will have some markings on the fingers, as case may be, to show that yes, I've received my vaccine. So for children that perhaps, for example, we might have children that have missed their routine immunization before, and then we catch them up through this campaign, they'll be able to go on go back to the primary healthcare facilities to continue their immunization. And then also for children, for young girls that will have the HPV vaccine, they'll also be able to follow up at healthcare facilities with their card to show, oh yes, I've had, this is the number of doses I've had, and then I'll be able to follow up to know this is the number of doses that are left for me to be administered. And so then subsequent campaigns also will be planned for in the future to be able to protect for people that might have of course maybe some children that are not yet born, that will be born at that time, depending on the public health status at that day.
Okay, lastly, what is Nigerian routine immunization schedule, and also what is the final word for the upcoming supplemental immunization activity?
Okay. So the Nigerian routine immunization starts at birth. Every country has their own routine immunization schedule, and for Nigeria, we also have one. So at birth, a child that is giving birth today is expected to collect some vaccines at a time of birth or at most within 48 hours of delivery. Part of it, the first is the BCG vaccine. The BCG vaccine prevents against tuberculosis, and that is valid. The child that even doesn't receive it as birth is liable to receive it as till 11 months of age. But we advise that before you start having visitors coming to the house, pecking the newborn and kissing and rejoicing about the birth of newborn, the BCG vaccine is given. Also, secondly, is oral polio vaccine. The oral polio vaccine protects against poliomyelitis. And the third at birth is the hepatitis B vaccine. All these three vaccines are given once a child is given birth, and it's all documented in the immunization card, such that if the child is given whether at any primary healthcare facility, you can go to another primary healthcare facility and also continue your immunization schedule. Perhaps for people that might have gone to their in-laws or their mother-in-laws or their parents' house to help them with the new delivery and child rearing. Now, at 6 weeks, the next set of immunization is administered. And at 6 weeks, the child gets 5 vaccines. The first one is the pentavalent vaccine. Pentavalent because it has 5 different vaccines in it. That's why it's penta. And that's given at 6 weeks is the penta-1 vaccine. After that, the child also received the oral polio vaccine. That's the OPV1. And then the child also received the PCV vaccine. That's the pneumococcal conjugate vaccine. And then also the rotavirus virus vaccine that prevents against diarrhea in children, and also the IPV vaccine. IPV vaccine also prevents against poliomyelitis. It's the only difference between the IPV and the OPV is that the OPV is oral and the IPV is injectable. And so at 6 weeks, the child gets that. And then at 10 weeks, the child gets Penta-2 vaccine. So Penta-1 is at 6 weeks, so get Penta-2 at 10 weeks. And then the PCV, that's the pneumococcal conjugate vaccine at second dose at 10 weeks, and then the OPV vaccine, the third dose number is called the OPV2, because at birth is called the OPV0, then 6 weeks is OPV1, and then at 10 weeks is OPV2. And then child gets the second dose of the rotavirus vaccine that prevents against diarrhea. And then at 14 weeks, the child gets the Penta-3 vaccine, the pentavalent vaccine, that's the third dose, the PCV vaccine, the third dose, Penta-3, PCV3, OPV3 vaccine, that's oral polio vaccine, the third rota vaccine, and the IPV vaccine. That's second IPV, the second injectable vaccine. And that's what at 14 weeks. And then at 6 months, the child gets the vitamin A, the first dose of the vitamin A vaccine, and that's all for 6 months. And then at 9 months, the child gets measles, yellow fever vaccine, and meningitis vaccine. Very important to note is the fact that at 9 months, the measles vaccine is the first dose of measles vaccine, because child takes the next one at 15 months. And those are just 2 measles vaccines on the national immunization schedule for Nigeria. So at 9 months, child gets measles, yellow fever, and meningitis. And then at 12 months, child gets the second dose of the vitamin A vaccine. Now, it's important to know that vitamin A vaccine from 6 months is taken every 6 months. So the child is of 5 years of age. That's 59 months. And the importance of vitamin A vaccine is because that child is going to be, it prevents night blindness among children. And so it's important that that child gets the vitamin A vaccine. And then at 15 months, like I said earlier, is second dose of measles vaccine. And then 9 years that's newly added, is the human papilloma virus vaccine. That's HPV vaccine for girls age 9 to 14 years. So that's the Nigerian immunization schedule in a brief. Now, for the integrated campaign, it's important that we pass the message on to our neighbors, friends, family, at religious centers, at several organizations where we have children at school, so that children can also pass the message on to their parents. So let them know that the integrated vaccine is here to prevent our children and as well as adults, particularly the yellow fever vaccine. The outbreak of these vaccine preventable diseases can be very fatal, and it's important that we prevent outbreaks as much as possible. It's not any parent's joy to see a child that is already working and actively doing well in school, and then imagine that child coming down with polio or other vaccine preventable disease that actually could have been prevented. So it's important that we go all as a team, as key stakeholders in the health family, to ensure that we pass the message on to everyone like that. Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, public health physician Dr. Mariam Oshodi, thank you for lending your thoughts on the program.
My pleasure.
And that's all we can take on this episode of 360 Health. Many thanks for watching. See you next time.